It's nighttime in the big city. Temptation is on every corner. A man rents a hotel room under an assumed name. It's Theme Time Radio Hour with your host, Bob Dylan.
Well, Happy New Year, everybody, and welcome back to Theme Time Radio Hour. A few weeks back, we did our second annual countdown show. But we had so many songs that would have fitted number one, we decided to do a whole hour of number one songs. So for the next 60 minutes, we're going to be talking about one-horse towns, one-track minds, one-armed bandits, one false move, one in a million, one too many, one way or another, one brick shy of a load, and one and only. So stay here, one and all, and listen to songs on a singular subject. That subject being number one. Let's start off with a song with that very same name. Harry Nilsson was born in Brooklyn, died all the way across the country in Agoura Hills, California. In between, he made a number of great records. Among that number was One, and here it is.
One is the loneliest number that you'll ever do. Two can be as bad as one. It's the loneliest number since the number one. No is the saddest experience you'll ever know. Yes, it's the saddest experience you'll ever know. Because one is the loneliest number that you'll ever do. One is the loneliest number that you'll ever know. It's just no good anymore since you went away. Now I spend my time just making rhymes of yesterday. Because one is the loneliest number that you'll ever do. One is the loneliest number that you'll ever know. One is the loneliest number. One is the loneliest number. One is the loneliest number that you'll ever do. One is the loneliest number, much, much worse than two. One is a number divided by two. One. One is the loneliest number.
That was Harry Nilsson and One. Harry was working in a bank and making demos and singing on commercials when his songs were recorded by the Monkeys and the Yardbirds. But he didn't quit his day job until the release of his first album. That album had a lot of fans, not least of which were the Beatles. They named him their favorite American singer. That made his career. You know him from the theme to Midnight Cowboy and the music for the animated cartoon, The Point. Here are some other number ones. The number one car color in the United States. Well, if you look out your window, you'll see more silver cars than any other. 20% of new cars are silver. Labrador Retrievers are the number one dog breed. The number one nation for water is Iceland. That makes sense. It's got frozen water in the name. The largest city in the world is Tokyo. It just doesn't look that big when Godzilla is rampaging through it. Our next artist made his name with the great Chicago labels. He started off on Cobra, produced by Willie Dixon. When Cobra folded, he went across the street to Chess. This is his first single on Chess, and it's only appropriate because it's called First Time I Met the Blues. Here's Buddy Guy.
The first time I met the blues, people, you know, I was walking down through the woods. Yeah, the first time I met the blues, you know, I was walking down through the woods. Yeah, not my house was blue. Blues, you know, you done me all the harm that you could. The blues got after me. If you know they ride me from tree to tree. Yeah, blues got after me. Blues, you know you ride me from tree to tree. Yeah, should have had me begging blues. Ah, blues don't bother me. Yeah, good morning, blues. Blues, I wonder what you're doing here so soon. Yeah, good morning, Mr. Blue. Blues, I keep wondering what you're doing here so soon. Yeah, you know you'll be with me every morning, Blue. Every night and every noon. Oh, yeah.
That was Buddy Guy. That was the first time Buddy met the blues. Here are some other famous introductions. In the beginning of Moby Dick by Herman Melville, one of the two main characters in the book introduces himself thusly: "Call me Ishmael." Henry Stanley went looking for a missing missionary. When he found him, he said, "Dr. Livingston, I presume." When George IV saw his future wife, Caroline of Brunswick, for the first time, he said to the Earl of Malmesbury, "Harris, I am not well. Pray get me a glass of brandy." While Caroline of Brunswick wasn't as knocked out, she said to the Earl of Malmesbury, after George IV left the room, "I find him very stout, and by no means as handsome as his portrait." You see, even back in 1700s, people lied in their official portraits, just like they do on their MySpace photos. Our next artist was married at age 15. She had 3 sons before she turned 20. She moved to Los Angeles in 1955 after 2 divorces and took on jobs as a waitress and a secretary. If you want to guess that she's a country and western singer, you're right on the money. She had a chance meeting with Harlan Howard, who was an aspiring songwriter at that point, and they ended up getting married in Las Vegas just 1 month later. One night, Jan was washing the dishes. She was singing while she was washing them. Harlan came in, and it was the first time he ever heard her sing. He asked her to make some demo recordings, and she did. The first one she made, "Mommy for a Day," became a hit for Kitty Wells. She also recorded the original demo for Patsy Cline's "I Fall to Pieces." She recorded with Wynn Stewart's band and had a number 13 hit with this song, "The One You Slip Around With." Divorced 2 times by age 20 with 3 kids, I bet she lived this song more than once. Here's Jan Howard.
I had the key to heaven
was John Howard, along with Wynn Stewart's band, The One You Slip Around With. And that's the record that brought her to national attention. In the mid-60s, she joined Bill Anderson's review and toured with him and played on his TV show. In October 1968, she dreamed that her eldest son had been killed in Vietnam. This turned out to be true. Shortly after that, she released a top 15 single, My Son. In 1987, she published her best-selling autobiography, Sunshine and Shadow. Seems like Jan Howard was a stranger to neither.
Do you think you are the one?
Honestly, I don't know.
Being the one is just like being in love. No one can tell you you're in love, you just know it.
You're listening to Theme Time Radio Hour, and we're talking about the number one and famous firsts. Our next artist might have never made it to number one, but they were the number one influence on many other artists. People who paid tribute to them include James Brown, Eric Clapton, and Steve Cropper. The Mamas and Papas had a big hit with this next song, but I don't think anybody ever did it as good as the folks who did it first. Here are the Five Royales, featuring the man who wrote it, Loman Paulin, and the guitar.
This is dedicated to the one I love. While I'm away from you, my baby, I know it's hard for you, my baby, because it's hard for me, my baby, but the darkest hours is just before day. Each night before you go to bed, my baby, whisper a little prayer for me, my baby, and let's tell all the stars above that this is dedicated to the one I love.
Life can never be exactly like we want it to be.
But I can be satisfied just knowing you love me.
Now there's one thing I want you to do, especially for me.
And it's something that everybody needs. Each night before you go to bed, my baby, whisper a little prayer for me, my baby, and let's tell all the stars above that this is dedicated to the one I love. Each night before you go to bed, my baby, whisper a little prayer for me, my baby, and let's tell all the stars above that this is dedicated to the one I love. This is dedicated to the one I love.
That was Five Royales, dedicated to the one I love. It was a hit in 1961 for the Shirelles, and in 1967, the Mamas and Papas did it. But I always liked the Five Royales version. Here are a couple of other interesting dedications. From The Secret Adversary, the 1922 book by Agatha Christie, to all those who lead monotonous lives in the hope that they may experience at second hand the delights and dangers of adventure. Why don't you just put, this is for the boring? Maurice Chevalier wrote in his memoir, to all my American friends, having been liked for such a long time in America is the pride of my life. I've always been fond of Albert Pierpont's dedication. He wrote, to Anne, my wife, who in 40 years never asked a question. I dedicate this book with grateful thanks for her loyalty and discretion. That would be a great dedication, even if Albert Pierpont wasn't Britain's last hangman. Who'd you kill today at work, honey? The RIAA was created in 1958 to honor records that sold over 500,000 copies. The first record to get that verification was Perry Como for his single Catch a Falling Star. The Eagles received the world's first platinum record for selling over 1 million copies of their greatest hits record. I know I must have bought it 5 times. Let's listen to a little bit of Smiley Lewis. This is a song that made the R&B charts in 1956. It had a big fan in Memphis, and he recorded it, but he had to make a couple of changes. I'm getting ahead of myself, though. Here's One Night by Smiley Lewis.
One night of sin is what I'm now paying for. The things I did and I saw would make the earth stand still.
That was Smiley Lewis, and as you heard, the lyrics were, "One night of sin is what I am now paying for." Well, when Elvis Presley recorded it, sin was not a proper subject for the mainstream record-buying public. He had to change the song to, "One night with you is what I am now praying for." The song was Bowdlerized. Bowdlerization is the process of censoring literature. The word actually comes from a family name, a family that pioneered rewriting literature. Thomas and his sister, Henrietta Maria, were the Bowdler family. They did not like the indelicacy of dancers at the opera, and they published anonymously a pamphlet called Sermons on the Doctrines and Duties of Christianity. This ran 50 printings. With this success, they started publishing other things, like the family's Shakespeare. It became the best-selling Shakespeare of the 19th century. Very soon, the act of cutting controversial or prurient material from literature took the family's name, and nowadays, things are still Bowdlerized. One of my favorite examples, also from the world of music, was when Bill Haley took Joe Turner's Shake, Rattle, and Roll to the top of the charts. Joe's version starts off in the bedroom. Get out of that bed, rattle those pots and pans. Bill Haley's version starts off in the kitchen. Get into that kitchen and rattle those pots and pans. Don't even talk about the one-eyed cat peeping in a seafood store. Well, even though it's a little cleaner, you can't fault Elvis. It was the taste of the times, and he'd already broken enough rules. Here he is, Elvis.
One night with you is what I'm now praying for. The things that we two could plan would make my dreams come true. Just call my name and I'll be right by your side. I want your sweet helping hand. My love's too strong to hide. Always lived very quiet life. I ain't never did no wrong. Now I know that life without you been too lonely, too long. One night with you is what I'm now praying for. The things that we two could plan would make my dream come true. Always live very quiet life. I ain't never did no wrong. Now I know that life without you has been too lonely, too long. One night
One night with you is what I am now praying for. Elvis the Pelvis, or should I just say Elvis? Here on Theme Time Radio Hour, we're talking about number one, uno. If you look at a dollar bill, you see a little bit of Latin. E pluribus unum. The phrase describes an action. It means many things uniting into one thing. Out of many, one. A description how the original 13 colonies were able to maintain their individual identities and still become one great nation. The motto was selected by Charles Thompson when he created the Great Seal in 1782. He put it on the scroll, carried in the beak of the American bald eagle. Go ahead, look on your dollar bill. You'll see it there. One person who knows it's there is the guy who this next song is about. He doesn't care what his woman looks like, or how she talks, or how she walks. He just wants to know how much money she has. Smokey Robinson wrote it. The Contours sing it. We'll tell you about the Contours in just a minute. But right now, enjoy them. First, I look at the purse. Step up to the microphone, honey.
What does every man look at first?
That was the Contours. One of the members of the band was Hubert Johnson. He was a cousin of Jackie Wilson. Matter of fact, that family loyalty really helped the band. Barry Gordy was never impressed with him and tried to show him the door. Jackie helped, first by helping him hone their act, and then personally recommending them to Barry Gordy, who signed them in 1961. They had a big success with Do You Love Me, but couldn't get that high up in the charts ever again.
Here's one of the good guys.
We love playing our favorite artists on Theme Time Radio Hour, but after we play them a couple of times, we don't have as much to talk about. We've told you the whole story about Anita O'Day. Actually, there's more to tell, and luckily, she wrote about her life in 1981. Check out Anita's autobiography, High Times, Hard Times. It's one of the most candid and harrowing books about drugs and music ever written. Read it while listening to one of her records. She has a song about Johnny One Note, written by Richard Rogers and Lawrence Hart. Here's Anita and the tale about poor Johnny One Note.
Poor Johnny One Note sang out with gusto and just overlorded the place. Poor Johnny One Note yelled willy-nilly until he was blue in the face. For holding one note was his ace. Couldn't hear the brass, couldn't hear the drum. He was in a class by himself, by gum. Poor Johnny One Note got in Aida, indeed a great chance to be brave. He took his one note, howled like the north wind, brought forth wind that made critics rave. While Birdie turned round in his grave, couldn't hear the flute or the big trombone. Everyone was mute, Johnny stood alone. Johnny One Note, sing out with gusto and just overwhelm all the crowd. Oh, sing Johnny One Note out loud. Sing Johnny One Note out loud. Sing Johnny One Note, please Johnny One Note, like make you one note cool.
Anita O'Day. Poor Johnny One Note here on Theme Time Radio Hour, talking about number ones. Poor Johnny One Note was written by Rogers and Hart. They were one of the most successful songwriting duos of Broadway. They first met and teamed up at Columbia University. Their big break came in 1925 with the Garrick Gaieties. 12 years later, they wrote a Broadway show called Babes in Arms. Maybe you haven't seen a revival of that lately. But that one show not only featured Johnny One Note, but also introduced The Lady is a Tramp and My Funny Valentine. Alexander Dumas immortalized the motto of the Three Musketeers, one for all and all for one. This motto was later adopted by the Hells Angels, a noted motorcycle gang. It's good advice. You should keep your friends close to you.
One.
Pete Seeger called the next artist Mr. Folk Music. He was a very popular blues singer, a top political singer. He was called the presidential minstrel to the Roosevelt White House and was a leading figure of cafe society. Here's Greensboro, North Carolina native Josh White and his song One Meatball.
Little man walked up and down. He found an eating place in town. He read the menu through and through to see what 15 cents could do. One meatball, one meatball. He could afford but one meatball. He told the waiter near at hand the simple dinner he had planned. The guests were startled, one and all, to hear that waiter loudly call, what? One meatball, one meatball. Hey, this here gent wants one meatball. The little man felt ill at ease. He said, some bread, sir, if you please. The The waiter hollered down the hall, you get no bread with one meatball, one meatball, one meatball. Well, you get no bread with one meatball. The little man felt very bad. One meatball was all he had. And in his dreams he hears that call, you get no bread with one meatball, one meatball, one meatball. Well, you get no bread with one meatball.
That was Das White and One Meatball. You know, I'm surprised by some of the feedback we get to the show. One thing people seem to love are my recipes. So here's another one. Here's how I make the perfect meatball. I take 3 minced cloves of garlic, 1/4 cup vegetable oil for frying, 1 pound of ground meat. Now what I do is, I take equal parts beef, pork, and veal, but you might like a different mixture. I add 1/4 cup grated Parmesan cheese, 9 saltine crackers, but you gotta crush them up fine. 1/2 teaspoon salt, black pepper, oregano, and dried basil. 1 tablespoon chopped fresh parsley. It's gotta be fresh. 1/4 cup of water, 1 egg, and 1 teaspoon of tomato paste. Now here's what you do. Heat the oil over a low heat in a large Dutch oven. In a big bowl, add the meat, the garlic, the cheese, the crackers, and spices. Mix lightly with your fingers. Don't be shy, get into it. In a small bowl, whisk the water, the egg, and the tomato paste. Add the egg mixture to the meat mixture. Mix it lightly with your fingers. Form it into drum shapes or balls. Cook in batches over medium-high heat until it's browned on both sides. That'll be about 5 minutes total. Serve them up with some potatoes or some spaghetti, or just make a sandwich out of them. You're gonna love them.
Mamma mia, that's a spicy meatball.
Our next artist, The Impressions, had Curtis Mayfield at the helm. Curtis was a triple threat. He wrote the songs, he played guitar on the songs, he sang on the songs. Not to mention the fact that he was a distinctive producer. Here's one in a great series of records they made in the early 60s. The Impressions, I'm the One Who Loves You.
I'm the one who loves you. I'm the one who loves you. Little girl, again you are blue. Another fellow has gone and left you. I see you've come back to me, your best friend, to tell another tragic story again. And once more you look in my eyes, and one more time you want to realize that I'm the one who loves you. I'm the one who loves you. Love me. I'm the one who loves you. I must confess you're not to be blamed for being caught in those boys' vicious game. This time I won't let you go back. Never again, my dear. In fact, I'm going to stop the blueness in you. Also confess what my heart wants me to, that I'm the one who loves you. I'm the one who loves you. Love me. I'm the one who loves you. Yes, once more you look in my eye, and one more time you want to realize that I'm the one who loves you. I'm the one who loves you. Love me, little girl.
That was the Impressions, I'm the One Who Loves You. And as I said before, they made one great single after another. But the king of singles is Pete Rose. Pete Rose hit the most singles in a career, over 3,200 of them. And you know what? He's not in the Baseball Hall of Fame. In 1989, Pete agreed to permanent ineligibility from baseball because of accusations that he gambled on games while managing and playing for the Cincinnati Reds. In 2004, he finally admitted to betting on the Reds, but swears he never bet against them. Pete Rose is the king of singles, but he's not in the Baseball Hall of Fame. Some people say he never will be, but I got $10 that says he will.
You see, what we do is if we need that extra push over the cliff, you know what we do?
Put it up to
11, exactly. It's one louder, isn't it?
Marion Makeba was born in Johannesburg, South Africa. She was probably the most important female vocalist to come out of there. She's known as the Empress of African Song and Mama Africa. This is when she was singing with a vocal group called the Skylarks. Beautiful, stirring music from South Africa. Here's Marion Makeba and the Skylarks. Make Us One.
We come from faraway places to the golden city. We've left our parents miles and miles away. So let us stick together and make us live in peace. Lord, make us one. We come from faraway places to the golden city. We've left our parents miles and miles away. So let's stick together and make us live in peace. Lord, make us one. We come from different types of nations and different homes, but now we form in one big family. So let's stick together and make us live in peace. Lord, make us one. Make us live in harmony like children of their own. We come from different types of nations and different homes, but now we form in one big family. So let's stick together and make us live in peace. Lord, make us one. Make us live in harmony like children of their own. We come from different types of nations and different homes, but now we form in one big family. So let's stick together and make us live in peace. Lord, make us one. We come from faraway places to the golden city. We've left our parents miles and miles away. So let's stick together and make us live in peace. Lord, make us one. Lord, make us one.
That was Marion Makeba and the Skylarks. Make Us One. She was the daughter of a Sangoma, which is a mystical healer. She recorded her most famous song, Pata Pata, in 1956. Nine years later, it was a big hit here in the United States. She performed with Harry Belafonte in Carnegie Hall. She always had a strong opinion and spoke out against apartheid. In 1960, the government of South Africa revoked his citizenship. For the next 30 years, she was a citizen of the world. She sang at JFK's 1962 birthday party at Madison Square Garden, but people only remember Marilyn Monroe. She was the first African artist to win a Grammy. She was married to jazz trumpet player Hugh Masekela. They met each other in 1959 while performing in the musical version of King Kong. After she divorced him, she married radical black activist Stokely Carmichael. This was a controversial move, and many people wouldn't hire her for concerts, and she was dropped from her record label. When Nelson Mandela was released from prison, she returned to South Africa. She performed her first concert in her homeland in 30 years in April of 1991. If you were a regular listener of Theme Time Radio Hour, you'd know how good the records that Los Lobos make are. Here's another example. It's like a series of snapshots of a neighborhood in the barrio. One time, one night, Los Lobos. That was Los Lobos, One Time, One Night. This is Theme Time Radio Hour, and we're talking about number ones in honor of January. Here's some other things that happened in January. Betsy Ross was born on January 1st, 1752. American poet Carl Sandburg was born on January 6th, 1878. Thomas Paine published his pamphlet Common Sense on January 10th, 1776. One of my favorites, Edgar Allan Poe, was born on January 19th, 1809. Mozart was born on January 27th, 1756. The Anglo-Saxons called the first month Wolf Month, because wolves came into the villages in the wintertime in search of food. We heard over our Christmas break that Ike Turner passed away. Anyone who really loves rock and roll will understand how sad that is. Everyone remembers the records he made with Tina, but there was so much more to Ike Turner. He played guitar or piano on so many of my favorite records by people like Howlin' Wolf, B.B. King, Johnny Guitar Watson, and a host of others. He was a talent scout for both Sun Records and Chess Records. He led his own band, the Kings of Rhythm. He was a tortured soul, capable of great darkness, but you can't always let someone's bad qualities be the only thing that you remember him by. Ike Turner was capable of great art, and the world of music is a poorer place for his loss. Let's listen to Ike Turner, along with Billy Gales on vocal, with a song appropriately called One More Time. That was Billy Gales with Ike Turner and the Kings of Rhythm, Just One More Time, from 1956 on the Federal record label.
One step beyond.
We got an email here. This email comes from Ivan Brunetti. He's writing to us from Italy. He must be getting the shows illegally. Ivan writes, Dear Bob, I've been enjoying your show, especially because I'm not that familiar with much of the music you play. Thanks for opening up my ears. I've bought records by Smiley Lewis, Dinah Washington, Eddie Nowak, and George Jones. Keep playing stuff I haven't heard of. Ciao for now, Ivan Brunetti. Well, Ivan, thanks a lot for your letter. Or should I say email? I don't want to offend any of the techno heads out there. I was really glad to read what you wrote. I think it's important to be exposed to new music. And new music, I mean new to you, can be hundreds of years old. If you haven't heard Beethoven, that's new, and you definitely should hear it. The same holds true for the artists we play here on Theme Time Radio Hour. And I apologize in advance, because we're about to play one that you've already heard, judging by your letter. Here's one of the greatest country singers who ever lived. It's the Possum, old No-Show Jones himself. Here's George, and just one more.
Put the bottle on the table, let it stay there till I'm not able to see your face in every place that I go. I've been sitting here so long, just remembering that you are gone. Well, one more drink of wine, then if you're still on my mind, one drink, just one more, and then another. I'll keep drinking, it won't matter. I'll just remember that I once had her. I don't know why I sit and cry every day. I've been trying to forget, but I haven't stopped as yet. Wine, then if you're still on my mind, one drink, just one more, and then another. Put the bottle on the table, let it stay there till I'm not able to see your face in every place that I go. I've been sitting here so long, just remembering that you are gone. Well, one more drink of wine, then if you're still on my mind, one drink, just one more, and then another.
Just one drink, just one more, and then another. George Jones. It's a song written by Dallas Frazier. Like they say in AA, one's too many and 100 ain't enough. George's drinking was legendary. He was self-destructive, and he almost died. Luckily, he was able to turn his life around, and we still have new George Jones records to listen to. Well, it's our number one show here on Theme Time Radio Hour, and I guess you knew this time would have to come. We only got time for one more. That's by one of the great blues piano players, Otis Spann, who recorded with Muddy Waters all through the 50s and 60s. He made a few records on his own that he recorded for Prestige. Otis is joined by James Cotton, who actually sings the lead vocal on that song. There's another member of the band. He's listed on the record as playing guitar under the name Teddy Rivers. That's a pseudonym for the great Muddy Waters, who was still signed to Chess and wasn't supposed to be on this session. Matter of fact, I'm going to let this record play out. I'm going to say goodbye to you now. Here's Otis and basically Muddy's touring band of the period with a song called One More Mile to Go. I'm going to start heading down that road myself, and I might be about a mile away by the time this song's over. I'll see you next week.
Been a hard desert journey, and I don't have to cry no more. Baby, keep your light burning, so your man will know the score. One more mile, one more mile to go. It's been a hard journey, baby, and I don't have to cry no more. I did wrong when I took a gamble. You know I bet my money wrong. I was betting on my baby, and my baby wasn't at home. One more mile to go. It's been a hard journey, baby. I don't have to cry about you no more. You know they tell me every school kid, you know they often have a maid, but this woman that I'm loving, she only live in this one state. One more mile ago. Well, it's been a hard journey, baby, and I don't have to cry no more. I did wrong when I took your money. You know I bet my money wrong. I was betting on my baby, and my baby wasn't at home. One more mile, one more mile to go. It's been a hard journey. I don't have to cry no more.
Thanks for listening to Theme Time Radio Hour with your host, Bob Dylan. Produced by Eddie Korodetsky. Associate producer, Ben Rowland. Continuity by Eats Martin. Editor, Damian Rodriguez. Supervising editor, Rob McCumber. Research team, Diane Lapson and Bernie Bernstein. With additional research by April Hayes, Callie Gladman, Terrence Michaels, Sean Patrick, and Lynn Sheridan. Librarian, Robert Bauer. Production coordinator, Debbie Sweeney. Production assistance by Jim McBean. Special thanks to Randy Azradi, Coco Shinomiya, and Samson's Diner. For XM Radio, Lee Abrams. Recorded in Studio B in the historic Abernathy building. Studio engineer, Tex Carbone. This has been a Greywater Park production in association with Big Red Tree. This is your announcer, Pierre Mancini, speaking. Join us again next week when our subject is walking.